Alrighty then.
Well,
Bum, 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 bum. Welcome to the news.
welcome to Surplus Boys.
Welcome to the Surplus Boys channel. Have a seat, drink some fruity beverages on a nice beach shore somewhere, and do what you do to waste time. We are here, and Patrick's drinking.
Yep.
And not alcoholic beverages, but we will let Patrick take most of this episode because, in
Yeah.
technicality, this is his gun, even though it was mine.
Yeah,
I'll let you elaborate on that
You
more.
screwed up on that. We'll come to that in a little bit. So obviously, you could probably tell by the accoutrements laid out on the table, we are talking about World War I today. Specifically, the model of 1917, as people like to call it, the American Enfield or the P-17, but you're wrong. And I'll get to that eventually.
Ooh,
But
accusations.
yes. So we're going to start with a little bit of history on this firearm and basically why the U.S. needed it and why it became a U.S. service rifle. And so let's get into that. So it starts around 1913, 1914. The British are looking for a new rifle, even though they have the Lee Enfield. They're looking for a new rifle in a different caliber, which is 276 Enfield is the caliber they were looking for. 276 Enfield was not a rimmed cartridge. It was meant to kind of be like 3006, probably not. I didn't do a lot of research on the cartridge, so I don't know too much about it. So that was the P-13 rifle. Then in 1914, this little thing started called World War I. And they needed rifles,
yes.
so they made the P-14, which was chambered in .303 British and was made by Winchester and Remington, ironically. They were making the P-14 for the English during World War I. It took Lee Enfield Chargers, was chambered, like I said, in .303 British. We'll get into the similarities between that rifle and this rifle in a minute. But so the British made the P-14. I don't think they issued a lot of them, honestly.
No, I don't think so. I'm not. That's obviously not.
I didn't
not
do
a realm we're too
Yeah,
versed in is
because
with British military arms.
I
really.
should have probably done more research on it, but I didn't.
You can ask British muzzleloaders about that. He probably knows.
I don't think he has a video.
Does he
No,
not?
he does not have a
I don't know.
P-14.
You watch him more than I do. So.
Yeah, I don't think he has a P-14. But for all other British stuff, watch British muzzleloaders. He's really good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
We entered the war 1917. Originally, we were issuing the 1903 Springfield.
Yes, the classic.
We initially sent troops over to Europe with the 1903 Springfield. By late 1917, early 1918, I believe, we did not have enough. So we started manufacturing the British P-14, but as the model of 1917 U.S. rifle caliber 38. We rechambered the rifle, obviously, from 303 to 3006. In the process of rechambering the rifle, we actually picked up an extra round in the magazine, so this actually holds 6. The U.S. wasn't going to issue 6-round stripper clips. It still feeds from regular 5-round stripper clips, as you can see here. And it uses Springfield 03 stripper clips, which these are the brass ones. These are actually World War I clips. I'll get into that when we get into a close-up. So 3 manufacturers made this rifle: Remington, Winchester, and Eddystone. Going into what people like to call this rifle when it really isn't this. A lot of people call these rifle Eddystones. A lot of people call them the P-17 or the American Enfield, which the American Enfield could technically be right because it is basically
an Enfield design,
but it's
relatively.
It's an Enfield design, but it uses a lot of Mauser-style parts.
Yeah, it's one person taking another person's thing, kind of taking another person's
Exactly.
thing, I guess.
Now, remember, the Lee Enfield, just to go off on a side note for a second, in the Lee part of the Enfield, he was an American designer. He designed the magazine for the Lee Enfield. So,
Indeed, true.
you know, we all know how the gun world works, especially back in that time. Everybody took their designs from everybody else. I mean, we were paying the Germans royalties in World War I to use the Springfield 03 because it was very much a Mauser rifle.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
same thing with this.
Yeah, this is a Mauser-style rifle. It cocks on close like a Lee Enfield, but it has a Mauser-style extractor, Mauser-style locking lugs.
Yeah, that would pretty much fall within like a Mauser, like 1893.
Yeah,
because I think those are.
Were the Chilean Mausers?
I don't know. I think they're cock on closing because the original Mausers were cock on closing until the 98.
I think the
98 is the first one that's cock on open.
Yeah.
So
it does.
We could be wrong. We're not professionals.
Yeah. So it kind of falls into early Mauser technology. If we're right, we're probably not. This one's a Remington. I believe this was made in September of 1918. I've looked up the
Yeah,
serial
you
number.
you did the research
I
on that, yeah.
haven't. Probably should have done the research before this video, but I
Oh,
didn't.
that's whatever.
So Remington made 545,541 rifles. Winchester made 465,980 rifles, and Eddie Stone made 1,181
That's a lot.
rifles. So the most common ones you find are Remington and Eddie Stone. The Winchester ones actually go for a little bit more money. These rifles, 10, 15 years ago, were probably $600-$700 guns.
Yeah, when I originally got this gun, that was probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So and it was a $600 gun back then.
And they've slowly gone up in price because people have now realized, I think, what they are.
Yeah. They're right around. They're 1903 prices.
Yeah, they're in the same price range as the 1903 and the Garand.
Yeah.
The Garand being the higher price of those two.
Yeah, most definitely.
This one I bought from him. He sold it to me for $600. He kicks himself constantly because this is a nice gun. But luckily, anytime he wants to shoot it, he can. And first time we brought it to the range, he broke the extractor.
I had to break it in for him, really.
Side note: if you break any parts on these guns, Liberty Tree Collectors, they carry parts for a lot of guns.
They're pretty good.
I don't know how much YouTube's going to like me talking about this. But
Oh yeah, well we're not going to leave any links because they don't allow us.
Yeah,
to do that.
but Liberty Tree Collectors, I was able to get a new extractor, and I think I had it fixed in a week.
Yeah.
So
as soon as I broke it, he was like,
and then I went online.
and then he's like on his phone. All right, I got a new extractor coming.
Yeah,
that easy.
That's nice. You can buy so when he owned this gun and when I first got it, somebody, and I think they did this back in the '60s. You can convert these bolts to a cock-on.
It was a cock-on open.
Yeah, you can convert them to a cock-on open bolt like a regular Mauser. I converted it back over to a cock-on closed bolt. Going back to manufacturers, I'm going to put this in there because I'm a nerd and I'm a freaking child. Eddie Stone was a subsidiary of Baldwin Locomotive Works. I play with trains every day.
Yeah, Mr.
Because it's what I do for my job.
Perpetually 4 years old.
Eddie Stone was a subsidiary or another company of Baldwin Locomotive Works. They made these rifles during World War I. Like I said, the Eddie Stones are probably the most common ones you find. Into the nomenclature of this gun, when this gun was adopted by the U.S. military, it was adopted as U.S. Rifle Caliber 30 model 1917. That is the correct designation for it. That is literally what the top of the receiver says. So
pretty nice.
Everybody's going to call it what they want, but that is the correct designation of it. Pardon me. Now I'm going to go into some of the modifications that we did to this gun to make it ours. First being, we modified it so it can use our stripper clips. This uses in the P14 regular Enfield chargers, because that's the correct term. They use regular Enfield chargers. This will use our regular Springfield stripper clip, and again, I'll show this in a close-up, or you can use, if you can't find original brass stripper clips, you can use Swedish Mauser clips. But I'll show you that when we come in for a closer look. This holds 6 rounds. I already kind of went over that. The bayonet, which you see in the foreground there, this bayonet is 16.5 inches long.
That's a long pokey boy.
So there's your bayonet. Now,
adorable.
Between the pattern 14 and the pattern, or in the 1917 rifle, the bayonets are the same. So if you own a 1917, bayonets are kind of hard to find for these. If you find a pattern 14 rifle, you can use the same bayonet. So on top of these being issued to troops, one of the debates about this rifle, is this the rifle Alvin York used to receive the Medal of Honor?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people say it is. A lot of people say it isn't. Alvin York specifically liked the Springfield over this rifle because of the sights. This having a peep sight, I'll take this out for a second. This having a peep sight, he wasn't as used to it as having the sights up here as a Springfield
hunting like rifle, especially back then.
like express sights.
Yeah, during those times, a normal average Joe back then had, a Winchester 94 or even like a Marlin 1893 or something like that.
Exactly.
And those would have had normal, what you call express style sights.
But aside from Alvin York not liking these sights, this rifle is considered one of the better rifles, or maybe the best rifle of World War I.
Yeah.
More so the sights. They basically used this sight on the original version of the BAR.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just with sights. Also, you got to think of given recoil for this type of gun, especially for a U.S. gun at the time. The guns that we had was You'd have the Krag, which they didn't really use. That was rear echelon at the least.
You had the Krag, the 03,
And then
which
03, which
the Marines
was shorter by what, like 3 inches, right? This is 27 inch barrel?
something like that.
So yeah, the 03 is 24 inches, and then there's this. So this has much more cushy recoil than an 03.
And you have the longer sight radius.
Longer sight radius. You have the placement of that bolt there when it comes down, because this is a cock and closing. You can technically do a mad minute with it.
So you can see where the bolt sits when it's closed.
Yeah, so that's obviously quite nice, especially back then. And then also you have the semi-pistol grip style stock, which if you ask May over at CNR Arsenal, if it doesn't have that, she don't want it. So obviously you can you take her word for it. Very reputable people over there. So.
Now these guns were reissued in World War II. To some U.S. Home Guard troops took them. A lot of them were used for Lend-Lease. A lot of them went over to England. A lot of them went up to Canada. Hell, Canada even had their own designation for this, and I stupidly didn't write it down. Are they bringing 1917s in from Ethiopia, or is that just the P14?
It's mostly P14. All right, so yeah, obviously.
Side note on this, he'll go into this.
Side note, we'll get into other videos, but I'm a big avid purchaser from RTI. I know a lot of people have controversial topics about them. I haven't had too many issues with them. I've had technically 2. That's just time-wise on sending out a gun, really, and anything else. Guns that I've gotten, of course, for the price point, expect problems. If you're buying a $200 gun that is from 100 years ago, expect a problem, or expect some sort of thing that's not going to be perfect. Yeah, I think... Sometimes they have 1917s.
Yeah, but I don't think those are coming in from Ethiopia.
I'm not sure if they're coming in from Ethiopia, because even though
they're nicer.
Inner Ordnance Royal Tiger does get they pretty much have the complete market on Ethiopian guns. They do get stuff from other countries. Like they do have stocks of Italian guns.
Yeah, they get some Carcanos
from Italy. And then I think they do get things from other countries, but right now it's mostly Ethiopia, because obviously Ethiopia hoarded everything they had. They could get their hands on during obviously the interwar period and stuff like that, and a lot of strife in Ethiopia between like 1890 to like 1940, 1950-ish. I don't know too much about it, but yeah, pretty much any gun they could get, they got. And the model 1917 would have kind of found their way in there.
Probably at some point, yeah. But when these got arsenaled for World War II, some of them got replacement stocks, obviously, depending on which ones were bad, which ones were good. And some of them got replacement bolts. And unfortunately, I have a friend who has another 1917 that's made by Remington, who has one of the guns that has a replacement bolt that was arsenaled after World War II. His name is David, and he's not here.
Shout out to you, David. When are you going to hang out with us?
So that's basically...
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's basically it.
That's as much as we could spew out at you that we know so far, pretty much, without going too off the rails.
Yeah, we'll bring you closer. We'll show you some of the markings.
Bring you a closer look to show the markings, a lot of the action here at the tip, a lot of action there at the butt.
Yeah,
it's a Grand Thumb reference.
All right, so this is the overhead as we're going to use, but this is going to be the close-up angle of the model 1917. So we're going to start with some markings, and I'm going to start with the easier thing to hold up to the camera, which is the bayonet. So here you can see the U.S. flaming bomb mark, and on this side it says 1917, and you can see, if I come up a little bit closer, you can actually see the Remington mark there. But these are the same bayonets as the pattern 14 and 13 rifles, so they have these marks in there to distinguish this as a 1917 bayonet. I believe the P14 and 13 bayonets don't have that, but I could be wrong. So there's that 16.5-inch bayonet. Here's scabbard. The scabbard is a leather scabbard with the typical US M1910 hook. Like I said, here's the Lend-Lease frog for it. And this does have, I don't know if you can see that, but this has a manufacturer. The scabbard's dated 1918. So that was the easy thing to hold up to the camera. Here's the rifle, as we've talked about before. So here you can see Remington model 1917 markings. For markings, that's all you're going to get besides the flaming bomb marks on a couple of parts. The bolts come out like a Mauser. So you pull the bolt up, pull this out. I'll rest this on the helmet here. Pull that out, and that's how the bolt comes out. I'm not going to take the bolt apart, but you can see that Mauser type claw extractor. On these bolts, you will see they have a flaming bomb mark on them, and then they will also have a serial number, and you can see that there's an R here and there's an E. E is Eddystone parts, R is Remington parts, and W would be a Winchester part. So every part on these guns were marked by the manufacturer that made them. So we'll put that back in the gun here. And then that just goes in like that. So, and as said before, gun is empty. This is cock on close, so as I close the bolt, you'll see cock's firing pin or the striker, and it goes down. Here's your safety. Down is safe, bolt won't come up. So there is that. Now, I don't know how easy it's going to be to show the sights, but here's the rear aperture sight. You're not really going to be able to see it sighting down it, but and it flips up like so. And this goes out to 1,600 yards. That's kind of optimistic for this rifle. But you have a regular peep here, and then this is your battle sight, which I believe is sighted for 100 yards. And then you have your peep for the adjustable sight there. So working our way down the rifle, full length wood handguards. Here's front sight, big wings to cover it and protect it. This is windage adjustable. It's not a really fine front sight, but this rifle, you can get some work done with it at a couple 100 yards. And then I don't know how well this is going to come up. I don't know if you can. There you go. This has a Remington barrel on it with the flaming bomb mark, and it is dated 5 of 18. So this rifle was not actually rebarreled after World War II. And up on the front of the barrel here, you can actually see the import marks from Century Arms and P17 3006. So, aside from that, the magazine floor plate does come out if you want to unload the rifle. Trigger pull on this thing, it's got a lot of take, and then you hit a wall. But once you hit that wall, the break is very crisp. This rifle actually has a very nice trigger. Now we'll talk about the sling here. So as stated, this is a Kerr no buckle sling. This is a reproduction sling from What Price Glory. But they were issued with these, or they were issued with M1907 pattern slings, which I don't have one. So that's the rifle and the bayonet. Now I'll go into the stripper clips a little bit, and I'll also go into, this does have the typical, US, British, whatever thing of having the hole in the stock for a cleaning kit, and this does have a World War I cleaning kit in it. So, and then now we'll go into the stripper clips. So, this is a regular US brass stripper clip. They usually have these tabs on here that get bent over, and they hold the rounds onto the stripper clip. You can use these. I actually have one here that's preloaded. These are dummy rounds. And you can see that works easy. It was a little awkward. Yeah, I should have brought it up to the camera closer, but I don't care. So those are dummy rounds. They're not live rounds. But these are kind of hard to find. Some people think they're finicky, whatever. This is a Swedish Mauser clip, and these work just as well. We're going to show you without hitting the camera here. This will be fun. The bayonet. And there's the bayonet on the rifle. Now, this is the same bayonet that the 1897 Winchester shotgun also uses. So if you want a trench gun, you can use that too. This isn't going to fit in the whole frame because, well, this is a long rifle. But that is the model of 1917 up close. And yeah, now I'll bring you back out and we'll have some conclusions. Well, we brought you in for a close-up. We showed you the markings and everything about this rifle. And yeah, I mean, most troops who were issued this rifle in World War I, they enjoyed it, they liked it. It is heavy compared to the Springfield.
Yeah, it's heavier than the Springfield.
So it does have that going for it, or against it, I should say. But aside from that, my personal experience with this rifle, I love this gun. This
yeah, it's
is
a pretty nice gun.
one of the best shooting rifles I own. even over my M1 in some ways. So yeah, I mean, there's not going to be much on this conclusion. It's a good rifle. If you can find one for a good price, buy it.
Yeah, they're definitely obviously a little bit harder, at least money-wise, to obtain now, just because they have gone up, especially since 10 years ago.
Especially Battlefield 1 put a lot of World War guns up in price.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get the video game generation now that can buy guns.
Yeah, the video game boys, them Battlefield 1 boys, let me tell you.
Yeah, they can buy guns now, so.
Yeah, the GOAT of all, I guess, MMOs when it comes to shooters like that.
Yeah, right.
Tell me wrong. I'm not wrong.
No, he's not.
The cinematography. Oh,
the only other thing I'm going to talk about real quick is some of the items we have on the table that are World War I.
Yeah.
That helmet, that's an original M1917.
Probably can't see it too well from there, but the camera view.
There's a lot of M1917s in U.S. history. This is an original helmet. Yeah, it's in a little bit of rough shape, but it's got an original liner.
Just imagine somebody's dirty, lice-ridden head was in that.
So there's that, and then. You might have saw this on the table too. This is a model of 1917 Bolo. Actually, yeah. This is made by Plum, who made hammers.
Not the fruit.
Yeah, no. This one.
Is a fruit. That's a fruit.
Yeah, right. This one is 1917, like I said, but made in 1918. The sheath is also dated 1918. I picked this up for a very cheap price at a military vehicle show because the guy did not know what it was. Pardon me. These were issued to medics. And the whole idea was they could chop people's limbs off with these things if needed to. This one, not so much. It's kind of dull.
Yeah, it looks pretty dull. It looks like there's a crack on the, what do you call it?
The handguard? Yeah, there is.
Handguard.
So that's probably why I got it for so cheap. But yeah, so
who knows?
A little bit of other stuff here. There's sheath and everything. We very much believed in covering our sheaths in canvas in World War I. Kind of weird. Later variants would just have a metal sheath. So I will do separate videos or shorts on my knife collection of U.S. military knives and bayonets because I have quite a few. That's about it.
Yeah. So please
rate, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, do all those things for those boys up in the ether that is of Google and YouTube.
Yeah. Get us up there.
We'd appreciate it. Thank you very much for stopping by and letting us blabber on to you as you sit there and either watch it or you're just watching or listening to it in the background.
Yeah.
If you're pooping.
This is a great video to watch.
Congratulations.
This video, when it's done, will probably be about 20, 30 minutes long.
Yeah,
this is a good poop video.
Yeah, if you're trying to ignore people and just watch whatever, congratulations.
Or if you're at work.
Thank you for stopping by. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.